I don't. Good morning, day, whatever it is. I'm so sleep deprived and so weirdly sweaty, and it feels like a ball sack outside. How are you doing? Good morning. Apologies, as usual, for being terribly late. I hadn't slept. I don't even know what time it is. I just am tired. Having a uterus is a fucking curse. How does my body not pick up on the overpopulation of the earth? For fuck's sake. Like, goddamn it. Just cheer me on for this. Ugh. Shopping is exhausting to me. The public is exhausting. You're outside? Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it sweaty ball sack? Everybody's been sweaty ball sack. I just realized I still have some. Everybody, like yesterday, people were hotter than us. We were 95 and people were in the hundreds yesterday. It is, we've reached peak sweaty ball sack summer weather, everyone. It's happened. I feel sweaty because I'm tired. I don't know if other people get this, but when you don't sleep, do you ever get that weird sweaty feeling like your body, like almost like you're sick, but you're not? You're just fucking tired. That's my body right now. It feels great. Only 84? Dude, that's not bad. My mother-in-law texted this morning for a family meeting and wouldn't say at first what the issue was. Jesus Christ. She eventually revealed she has depression and states, "It's not just my problem, it's the family's problem." Um, I don't know how to respond to that. What? Is that something we do now? We just put our mental illness on other people and expect it to get better? I mean, Arizona's a different level of hell, Pucky. We all know that. Your guys is every time someone mentions heat, I'm like, yeah, but did you know Arizona's average temperature went up 2 degrees this year? It's you guys live in hell. My in-laws are strange. I mean, that's that's a thing to say out loud. I have depression and it's everyone's problem. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. Like, how? I don't. Happy Thursday, young. I don't know what to say to that, Kona. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. Like that. I mean, what? I do not know how to respond to that. I wouldn't know even what to. Because, like, obviously and clearly, we're human. We have hearts and we want to be there for people we care about and love when they're in a depressive state or otherwise, right? But I don't think I've ever heard someone come at me like, my, like, guys, imagine 6 years ago, I come on stream and I'm like, yo, I've been diagnosed with OCD and bipolar, but it's not just my problem, it's yours too. Family meeting time? I'm so sorry. Yeah, let's cheers to. I mean, let's just smoke that away. Good morning, Rage. Good morning, David. My only question is your therapist aware of this? Is there a therapist? Like, whoa. I get anxiety, so it's two, which sucks. Me too. Jumping between two hot, sweaty balls, then cooling off and being cold under your brain. There's something to that. I read an article years ago that said, like, going from extreme heat outside into air conditioning back and forth constantly can actually make your body get, like, kind of fuck up and get sick. Like, it can knock your immune system or something. I don't know. It's weird. My work was getting on my tits, every one of my tits, all of them. My depression is your fault. I buy that bumper sticker, right? Like, you deal with my bipolar because I'm not gonna. What? Cheers. Kona, I'm gonna be honest, that's a new one. If anything, she's got that going for her. I have not. I've heard a lot of shit from you guys before. A lot. Like, we love to vent about our crazy here. Our family crazy, our crazy, our white trash nonsense. That's what this is for, right? This is our safe place to vent and just bitch to the world. That is fucking new. I don't think anyone has ever come and said, yeah, a family member has told us we're responsible for their mental illness now. Just to be clear, for those new to my channel or just swinging by, I myself am very mentally ill. I'm not pointing fingers or saying mentally ill people have a problem. Like, I think that this response to the mental illness is part of said mental illness. Cheers, hold on. So I've noticed lately there's been this influx of friends of mine whose spouses are getting late life diagnosed, which I think is amazing. Get diagnosed at whatever age you possibly can when you have insurance. If you need a diagnosis, go to the fucking doctor and get it. That being said, I've also noticed that when adults get late stage diagnosed, they have more of a propensity to use said diagnosis to just be an asshole. And that's not it. You know what I mean? That's not it at all. Like, that's not the point of any of that. Yeah, I suck and it's okay. The doc said so. Deal with me. I have a problem, therefore you have to deal with me. That's not how it works. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to use a diagnosis to continue being a piece of shit? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Good morning, Rodbert. I don't understand that. Why you would want to do that? Why am I like this? You're mentally ill. Oh, cool. So I can't fix it. I can just lean into it and have others have to adapt. That's what it feels like. Or like, I've noticed some people, like, they get this like late life diagnosis and they're just like, well, I'm having a really hard time dealing with this diagnosis. And yes, it sucks. I mean, you've got a label on you now medically. Like, I understand that. But now you have an understanding of how your brain works in medical terms. You can use that to try to make your life easier and try to, not suffer so much and not be an asshole. Like, we're all an asshole sometimes, but like that. Everyone around you that loves you just wants you to feel good. We don't want to watch you feel shitty. And if all you're doing is going to a therapist to use that language to be shittier at home with said therapy language, that's actually that's a new thing that they're working on diagnosing, is people who go to therapy just to use the language their therapist used to be combative and predatory towards people in their IRL life with said psychological language. So they sound really smart and it sounds like their psychologist is saying all these things, but really they're just manipulating the information to just continue being a piece of shit. I don't get it. Why do you want to do that? Exactly, David. That's what my diagnosis gave me was, oh, I'm not just crazy. Like, my whole life was defined by trying just as hard as everybody, if not harder, in my mind. Like, I would sleep in the library practically, live there, live outside of professors' office hours and shit, and still not get great grades. And I knew I wasn't stupid. Like, I could verbally do a test and almost get an A, but if I have to write it down, da da da. So going to a therapist and getting diagnosis for me was like, oh shit, this is how my brain works. It doesn't work the way other people's do. Studying for 3 weeks before a final doesn't help me. Procrastinating until the last night and jam crunching, and I can get a better grade. That's just how my brain works, and that's what the diagnosis did for me. It helped me interact with the world, the rest of the way the rest of the world seems to interact with itself. And I was, for some reason, on the outside. It helps me feel like I'm not crazy. I'm diagnosed, but I'm not crazy. Like, I actually do function differently. But I don't go forward with that and be like, if someone was like, hey, this behavior of yours is questionable, bothers me, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be like, oh, sorry, it's because I'm ADD. I'm just going to continue being an asshole now. I don't get it. I don't think I will ever get that. To move to 100%, addiction is absolutely a form of neurodivergence, and people just love to shame it. Good morning, Lorelai. How are you, love? Did you hear about yes. The $1 billion donation by the Johns Hopkins School is fucking incredible. Yeah, I did hear about it. The label changes nothing. You're still the same as before the label as you are now. Now you know what makes you do what you do. Exactly. That's it. That's literally what is under my. Oh, that's what it is. It's literally all it is. But I've noticed a big trend in friends' spouses who suddenly get diagnosed with something and they use it as an excuse to just continue to sink into that hole of whatever. And I don't think a lot of people, I think it leads people to be a lot more selfish than they would have been. I don't know. It makes me sad. It's a crayon, right? We're just having a fucking, we're just trying to be happy. Me too. Same with papers to mood. That was probably the worst for me. Like writing a big fat paper for a chemistry project or something. Like all of my friends would start the night that the paper was assigned, and they would do rough drafts and they would reread it over and over. And me trying to follow that recipe for success led to extreme failure and failing out of classes. And I knew I mean, I'm not an idiot. I know I'm not an idiot. I'm not like it just that's not how I learn. Versus if I just ignored the recipe and did the procrastination thing and crammed 3 days before a test, I'd get an exponentially better grade because all the information's new in my head and I trust it. I haven't looked at it 20 times and I'm not second guessing it. It's, yeah, dude, caffeine overnights, man. Those all nights where you just show up the next morning and what you've worn for the past 3 days to turn in your paper and you're like, whatever, I don't even see you as a human anymore. Good morning, C-Town. How are you? Wait, question. Can I keep being an asshole as long as I don't try to blame it on my diagnosis? Absolutely. I mean, that's the problem, is these people, instead of just admitting they're an asshole, now they're like, I'm not an asshole. I have autism. And I can't help but want to respond, I know a lot of people with autism who manage to not be assholes. Like almost all of them. It's just describing how you think. It is not an excuse to go on being a pain in the ass to everyone in your life. Looking back over my family experience, I don't recall anyone bothering with anything like a diagnosis to be a full-fledged asshole, but it was the 70s. I mean, none of my family's diagnosed. You don't need a diagnosis to be an asshole. At the same time, finding out and then finding your tribe where you don't have to mask and it doesn't bother them is like, oh my god, it makes me want to cry. 100%. But like, I feel like your tribe doesn't see you as an asshole because they understand the way you work, but also you're probably not an ass. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people with diagnoses that do not go on to be assholes and just like, you know, when they start feeling shitty, they go back to their doctor like a normal person would, or like a functioning human, I guess. Yeah, using it as an excuse instead of an answer, 100%. Yep. Or like it. I mean, even answer. Like I feel like when I got my diagnosis and stuff, it wasn't necessarily an answer, but it did lead me to go read about the way my brain worked, and it helped me form a method of living that works for me as opposed to just slamming my head against the brick wall of neurotypicalness over and over, telling myself, like, this should work, and it's not, but no one has any other solution, so I'm just going to keep slamming my head against this wall until something happens, I guess. Like, that was my life before diagnosis, and now without a diagnosis, I'm just like, no, there's actually a walkway around the wall. There was a doorway to the right. It's just no one showed me the fucking doorway. No one pointed it out. So I just, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. But I'm still just as fucking crazy as always. I just know I understand why, and I can work with it. I partially had my first assessment today to be diagnosed, and the way she said it was, imagine 2 phone apples, neurotypical, and an Android, neurodivergent. Now, each to their own, the work in their own ecosystem, but a lot of Android people are trying to work on iOS, and that's where it comes to the connections don't work and yep. I love that. It's Android versus Apple. That's all you have to say. They do the same thing, but it's 100% different how you get there. I'm an asshole and autistic. I mean, we're all an asshole once in a while, but I doubt very much that any of you are out there just using it as an excuse to continue being a jerk to someone you care about. I'm also depressed, but I'm an asshole first. Same. I'm mostly an asshole at work because I'll clobber people. My bong is smoking itself. Who refuse to be as specific about technical issues as I know is important. See, I don't think that's being an asshole. That's just asking someone to do their job. That's like working in medicine and someone pointing at something on someone's body and being like, hey, can you put that in the thingy? That's not a thingy. That's an A-line. Or, you know, you're just asking them to do their job. I gotta clear my bowl. It's a crayon, you know, I do too. And I'm sure you've seen these. I see these memes about ADD, ADHD, whatever, all the time. And one of them is, I mean, it's like a theme amongst them that's like the time blindness of ADHD. how you can just be walking around the house and glance at your phone in the kitchen on your way to go do something, and suddenly it's been 4 hours. You're still standing in the kitchen looking at your phone, and you know everything about Tunisia. I struggle with that. I find sending like having some sort of routine and having set things, like honestly, having our watch party 2 hours after stream every day has been great for me. Just having like instead of having 5 hours of just open space to be like, yeah, I have stuff to do, but 5 hours is a lot for me to like mentally handle and what's the it's hard to compartmentalize projects into 5 hours. So I'll end up just like walking in circles for 5 hours and not really getting as much done as I could have gotten done. Whereas now it's like I end stream at 3. I have 2 hours to take my dogs out, do some chores, and then we have watch party for like hour and a half, whatever. And then I have another block of time. And the blocks of time are easier, I feel, for my brain to manage and to organize a set like this is what you need to get done versus having just a like open-ended time. And I don't know why. I found that helps me a lot though. Nobody's asshole 100% of the time. I really hope not, because what a miserable way to live. I've dealt with someone who used trauma as an excuse to be an asshole. I don't know your trauma, but if you don't want any friends ever continue being the way you are, exactly, C-Town. That's exactly what we were talking about. Like, I've noticed it as a weird trend, and I too was diagnosed in late life. I wasn't diagnosed with any. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 27, and then 30 is where I got all the big stuff on me. And I've just noticed people in a lot of people in late that get diagnosed in late life, instead of looking at it as like, oh, this is how my brain works and I can alter my life to now work better within society or however you want to use your information. They use that information to then like weaponize it and go home and be like, well, you might be bothered by me, but I have blah, 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 blah. And it's because of this and this and this. And I can't help the way I think. So it doesn't matter that your feelings are hurt. I didn't do it on purpose. They use it as a way to like be predatory with people in their life. I've noticed it as a trend lately and it bothers me because where the fuck is the therapist? The therapist shouldn't just be throwing a diagnosis at you and then saying, yeah, go home and share this with your family and tell them why you're an asshole and how you're going to continue being this way and they need to deal with it. I have a hard time believing there's a therapist backing that at all. C Nameless, your digital weed fairy is here to remind you to buy local, smoke local, and be higher local. Amen. I buy super local. It's literally 2 miles down the road. Crazy. Good morning, Sexlent. How are you, my love? Are you too in the sweaty ball sack weather? Because we are. Everybody, it's so bad. I imagine that I could come across as an asshole in something someone is doing and is hitting my nerves repeatedly when it's just an ordinary thing they're doing. I want to throw bricks at your car. Shut this shitty music off. That's where we just put our headphones in and walk the fuck away. Same. Been there. You mean if I just had this confidence and charisma of Jack Black, it could be sexy as fuck? Well, this is crushing my ego. Dude, I don't even know what Jack Black's a god. I don't know what's going on there. You also have the doorway effect. We tend to forget items of recent significance. Oh my god, that is the worst. We tend to forget recent items of recent significance immediately after crossing a boundary and often forget what we're thinking about or planning on doing upon entering a different room. I feel like that is my life. It's the worst. I can be like chanting something in my head, like, you're going to the bedroom to get this, you're going to the bedroom to get this, and halfway on the way to the bedroom, I see something on the floor and I pick it up and I'm like, wow, I should vacuum. And now that thing I was on the way to the bedroom to pick up is gone. So gone. It's the strangest shit, that object permanence thing. Same, David, and those are the memes I see all the time, no shit. The memes I see, and they ring so true. It's usually someone with ADHD saying, I thrive in routine and yet despise it at the same time. And that is the definition of living with something like this. And I'm not saying it's just ADHD. There's a lot of diagnoses that struggle with routine and stuff like that. I can only speak to personal experience. And it's like, I have to fight the instinct to come up with excuses not to do things that I want to do because my brain is so hardwired to get out of a timed thing or a routined thing. Get out of it, even though I want to do it. It's so weird. And my brain will immediately start thinking like, well, there's other things you could be doing or something you should be doing and you could get out of that and then you don't have a thing you have to do at a certain time and then you don't have to worry about it and you're just going to have these 5 open-ended hours to walk in circles and do nothing with your life. And I have to remember, like, no, you want to do this thing. Stop. I don't know what the fuck that is. I hate that instinct that's there. It's very annoying. I just got AC looked at after our apartment was like 80 for a few weeks. Disgust. That sounds like poor JP. JP's been going through the ringer with his dog and just trying to get into a house with AC. It's ridiculous. Dude, you did. I turned into what sounds like ADHD and I immediately understand. Yes. We were talking about I was just saying like I've noticed this weird trend in people my age getting late diagnosed with things in life, using those late diagnoses as an excuse to just continue being an asshole and not functioning. Because a member of our community has recently been told by a member of their family that they've been diagnosed with depression and it's the entire family's fault problem. Not fault, problem. They need to deal with it, as well as the person suffering with the diagnosis. And I just don't understand where the fuck. What? What? Why is that? That's just, it's a new one, man. That one sent me for a ringer. Oh, did he finally get into his new place? Oh, thank fuck. Okay, yeah, JP, wasn't he in a rental? And the AC kept going out, and it was just terrible, and he has a long-haired dog, like it was literal hell. Wait, hold on. The doorway effect or location updating effect is a replicable psychological phenomenon characterized by short-term memory loss when passing through a doorway or moving from one location to the other. I suffer it. I feel like I live like a dog. Avoidant personality disorder is a personality disorder. People with AVPD often have a long history of feeling inadequate, not enough, or very sensitive to what others think about them. Someone with an avoidant personality disorder will appear shy and timid. Oh, 100, I can totally, yeah. Thank you, Tara. My friend Vissy did it. She did such a good job. It's really gross and it's just out of my face right now, but thank you. I'm glad it still looks good even when I don't do anything to it. It's terrifying to hear all of this because same, I'm so sorry. See, I think it's sad that psychology in general and just like being neurodivergent, admitting it and talking about it is seen either as taboo or someone just attention seeking. Because I've found just in my personal experience, talking about my own personal experience has led a lot of people to go talk to their doctors and get some pretty serious diagnoses and help with their life and possibly medication and therapy that has greatly improved their life. But sometimes you don't even know. I mean, how would you know if you don't talk about it? Like actually talk about it with a human that lives it and I would say I have a mediocre handle on it. I finally spoke to a doctor about it and I was diagnosed. No shit. My wife has been helping me with it to medicate the ADHD, but as a 36-year-old man, I feel you spiritually. I feel so fucking relieved now that it's an actual diagnosis. Been fighting this shit my whole life. Rocket hard, same. I was saying that like I've talked about it so many times, but it's important to talk about because if you don't, people don't even know what they're looking for. But same, I wasn't diagnosed till I was 27 with ADHD and then 30 with OCD and bipolar. Fun little cocktail. And again, it doesn't change who the fuck I am in any way, shape, or form. I've always been this person, but now I have the language to describe it and go look into it when I run into a wall where I'm like, okay, I'm banging my head against this brick wall that everybody else is walking through. What the fuck is going on? And I can go back to, well, this is how my brain works. Maybe this is why. I don't know. I see it as like a tool to work with. But those years, I mean, up until I was 27, I still am kind of convinced I was dumb. I still describe myself as idiot Katie, stupid Katie, because my friends would be like, "Aw, Katie, at least she's cute. At least she's pretty," and pet me on my head. Like that was a normal thing for so many fucking years of my life, just to be treated like, "Oh, she's cute, she's precious," because she's an idiot. And I was just like super undiagnosed, no therapy, like losing my fucking mind, probably self-medicating with a lot of drugs at that point. And it wasn't like I had consistent friends. I moved every 3 years of my life. So no matter where I went, I ended up weird Katie, oh, she's cute. Everywhere I went. And that on top of, studying just like all my friends, going to school, perfect attendance, sitting outside my professor's offices for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, I would fail while everybody else could pass. And we all have that friend that doesn't have to study and still gets A's. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal people. I just couldn't figure it out. And I truly was like, they must be right. They have to be. Because it's obvious. Like, I put in all the same work they do, if not more. Pretty sure it was more, not just flexing here. I didn't paint for 10 years. I lost every fucking hobby I'd ever had, any love. I didn't read a book for fun for 10 years because I convinced myself that if I did anything for enjoyment while in college, that's why I got an F. That's why you failed, Katie, because you read a book for pleasure? I would like, and that's part of the OCD, but I was creating weird rituals and weird things in my life, convincing myself, like, I just didn't know what else to do. It's kind of like people who go out and sting themselves with bees at a certain point with chronic pain because no one can help them. I was getting to that point of just like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll stare at this wall for 15 minutes because then I'll get an A. Like, this is where my OCD really started coming in really hard and was terrible for my everything. But enough of that and no one offering any other solution. Yeah, you're going to convince, I mean, the world has convinced you and is convinced you're a fucking idiot. If anybody's new to my channel or just swinging by, I'm not a fucking idiot. I have a 9-year medical degree and I worked at Johns Hopkins for quite some time. After getting diagnosed, getting on some good meds, and being in some fucking intensive therapy to convince myself I'm not an idiot. Like, at that point, it wasn't just going to therapy anymore for the diagnosis. It was also going to therapy for just the extreme detrimental self-opinion of that was wrong, isn't real. Like, I'm very clearly not a fucking idiot. I just don't learn the way the schools expect us to. And I don't want to say it's the way everybody else learns, because I don't think I think most people do what I did in terms of finding workarounds as to how to study and how to learn information, because the vast majority of us do not fit that model, the classic scholastic model. I think the classic scholastic model, or what it's evolved into, i.e. passing standardized tests and shit like that, I think that's actually like just training us to work in factories and work at desks. I don't think that's an actual learning model whatsoever. So we almost have to pay to go to school to educate ourselves. I mean, is it imposter syndrome if everyone in your life is, at least she's cute? Aw, at least you're pretty. Is it? I don't know. I mean, if everyone around you is doing that, I don't know. How would you form another opinion of yourself? I still deal with that. I still do that to myself, like, at least you're pretty. Because I still feel like an idiot all the time. Like, it's so hardwired into my brain. I don't think there's a certain amount of therapy or drugs that will ever get that out. It's overcoming it constantly the rest of my existence. And just talking over it in my head, being like, no, that's bullshit, Katie, stop it. Because it's just there. That pathway is my pathway. It's fucked up. Same, Kona. I failed a couple times out of college. And it was terrible. And every time I would just cry and wonder why. Because I know for a fact I was fucking working my ass off and studying to hell. It's actually fun when you hear people talking about how it's a trend and that people celebrating getting diagnosed is proof that it's fake. I think there's a level of, what's the word? Is it jealousy? But fear at the same time? Because, like, if you are financially, insurance, whatever, able to go to a therapist, there's a lot of people out there that have those capabilities and won't go. Because even if they're not diagnosed with anything specific and they're just going for therapy, it's admitting they've got something wrong, and that shame or pride gets in the way of them living a full, complete, loving life. And I pity that fuck. Like, that sucks. I'm glad that I broke down to the point where there was no shame left in me. I was fully clothed in a bathtub in California on the phone with my mom. I thought I had a brain tumor. Don't let yourself get there. There's only so long your brain can fight for you, and then it's going to start getting tired. For me, it was around 30. It was a rough day. Thank you, C-Town. I appreciate you. The U.S. schooling model was intentionally built originally to produce semi-educated workers who would work in factories. Called it. Oh, Rocket. I still deal with that. Like, I can't even bring up. My sister and I are both in therapy and medicated, and we can't even talk about it with my mom because the immediate response is, well, I just don't know what I did to you to deserve this. And we're like, what? I mean, in that case, here's my bill. You broke it, you bought it? I don't. I don't understand. Sorry. Imposter syndrome. Yep. When you're, yep. I mean, I feel like that contributes to that. 100%. Yes. It would be bound to affect you. Yeah, I get that. The saying I always get from my parents was other kids are good most of the time, bad some of the time, but you're bad most of the time and good some of the time. Yep. I mean, I'm sure you got the whole, everybody's having a great time. Can you suck it up and not ruin everybody's day? And what being diagnosed gave me is the power to, instead of just going to that instance where I'm probably going to be overstimulated by a crowd or something, now as an adult, if someone invites me somewhere where I know I'm going to be uncomfortable and ruin their good time, I just say, no, I don't want to go. It feels great. It's the best. I love it. I don't know why, for a certain portion of my life, I felt like if I was invited somewhere, it was just me, it was rude to say no. Even if it was an instance where I knew I was probably going to be in like a silent anxiety attack the entire time and just working off fucking like survival mode. What up, Lizzie? How are you, my love? It's totally about them, right? All of it. Exactly. All of it. One major part of not wanting to do it, besides looking for one, facing all the shit you've gone through, overcoming it 100%, and owning up to your bullshit. Owning up to, yeah, like your neurodivergence might have made you kind of an asshole and you might have hurt people's feelings and you didn't mean to. That doesn't mean you didn't. And it doesn't mean you can't say you're sorry. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I feel like a lot of people will use that as an excuse not to. Knives.
Fuck you with Satan's cock.
Thank you so much for sending to the class, keeping the class alive and giving it anus swings. What an apt alert for the conversation. My sister used to overstimulate me on purpose and then make a big deal about me being grumpy. My whole family loves to do that. Like, they're the type that if you're obviously in a different room because you'd like to be quiet and alone for a minute, they come into the room and lay on top of you and do things like, don't smile, don't smile, don't smile. And you're in your core like, love it. We've all survived the worst day of our lives thus far, guys. We're doing okay. Now, Jill, I forgot my fucking water, but I have coffee. It's water, technically. Imposter. Oh, it just jumped. Hold on. I have my font really big. Imposter syndrome is you thinking your abilities aren't what you think they are. General self-doubt. People saying, quote, at least she's pretty, is them painting a picture of you based on their perceived notion of you based on what they decide to see rather than asking questions on what that person is like. Why that person is like that. Yes. Which is, I mean, that's most childhood relationships, right? I wasn't deep thinking or deep talking in middle school or probably even high school at all. You know? Lizzie, I mean, that's my life now. 100%. But like earlier in life, I mean, I think everybody that was a friend of mine has been diagnosed with some crazy shit by now, because thankfully we're in a more accepting generation of going to therapy and talking about that stuff. But like, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I was an easy target, and I've always, I mean, if you're old enough to have gone to a school where they did voting things like class clown, I was absolutely voted class clown every year, most outgoing and some other fucking bullshit, because that's how I masked my insecurity of being neurodivergent, is to be funny. Because if you're dumb and funny, people will still like you. You can't just be dumb. Which is sick. It's sick. I know it. Well aware that's not it. But I know I'm being able to acknowledge that and see it and work with that has helped me a lot in my life and helped me not nurture pointless friendships, to be really blunt about it. It's excellent. And I think that's something we'll work on the rest of our fucking lives, which is sometimes the worst. Like, and I think that's another reason a lot of people don't want to go to therapy or don't want to try talking to somebody, is it's not a band-aid, it's not a solution, and there is no fix. I'm still neurodivergent or spicy as fuck, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, all of it's still there. And I kind of think that's vital to being a human. Like, I think I've told you guys this, but one of the very first conversations I had when I was getting diagnosed, and like my doctor and psychologist were talking about my drug plan, my med plan, whatever the fuck you want to call it, my fun little cocktail. It was a big deal for me to talk to them. I was terrified of lithium for a really long time, because everyone I knew that had been put on lithium in the past had been put on so much that they just became a nothing. They became like a husk of a human. And I was so terrified to not have my personality and not like be myself and not, my stimming and like things that are now described by neurodivergence, I feel are part of who I am as a human being. And without them, I don't feel like myself. And that was a huge deal to talk to my therapist about before I was ever put on anything. It was like, I don't want to not feel sad. I just want to be able to stop feeling sad in a reasonable amount of time. And a big, like, one defining factor of bipolar, and I don't remember which type I am, I'm the hyperactive one, if that's not apparent, uh, is that you still feel both spectrums of emotion, i.e., very, very happy or very, very sad, but there's a tipping point where your brain doesn't stop feeling that and it just goes off on some crazy ass vertical graph of skyrocket. It's crazy. So something super exciting for me would tip me into a manic state where weeks I would sleep 2 hours a night, not eat anything, and complete a quilt a day. Like, it was insane. But I had I didn't even know what bipolar was. I didn't have any language for this to describe this kind of thing. So the the other defining feature, I guess, Sexcellent would know a lot more about this, is literally what they study for a living, um, is that the unfortunate side of that beautiful mania where you wake up feeling like you're on speed crack and everyone's the loveliest person in the entire world and you want to hug your worst enemy, is that eventually the opposite is going to happen. Like, eventually your body exhausts on neurochemicals to release to make you feel those feelings, and you just hard crash into that opposite side of the deep, dark, nothing matters, meaningless depression. No other word for it. It's horrible. The between the type 1 and type 2, the depressive, they tend to lean towards the depressive side, whereas the manic tend to lead towards the manic, but we both can tip into the other scale. And that was a huge like, once I was diagnosed bipolar, I went and read about it, read about, like, as much as a layman's person can. I have a minors in psychology. It means nothing. I told them, I was like, I don't want to be numb. Like, I read a lot about SSRIs and stuff like that and how it puts you in this medium zone where you can't get happy or sad, and I don't want that at all. Sad sucks, but if you're never sad, how the fuck are you ever happy? Like, you have to have an internal gauge to even feel, like, the neurochemicals will be released, but will you even feel it? It was just, I don't know. I was panicked about that because I don't want to lose who I am. I don't want to lose my personality. I've never hated my fucking personality. I just hate that I can't wiggle into the stupid parts of society that you need to do to make money and survive as a human, i.e., just be smart and pass a test. Unfortunately, the world is test bound, and I'm a terrible test taker. It was horrible. Um, but that was a huge conversation for me. I mean, I still talk to my doctor about that all the time. If they want to change meds or something like that, I'm just like, I better still feel feelings. I just want to be able to stop, like, feel sad for a day at the most. That's understandable. When a major event happens, like a relative dies, I don't want to not cry. I never want to be on so many drugs that I can't cry. I just want to be able to stop. And with mania, or with bipolar in general, I just couldn't. It was just like, it wouldn't stop. And for me, I can only speak to personal experience. For me personally, I would only talk about the feelings, the weird feeling, i.e., either way, that I was having when I was in the depressive state, because mania feels great. I hate how it's drugs. I miss it. I miss how fucking productive I was and, like, not needing to sleep. I still hate sleep so much. It's such a fucking waste of time. Waking up sucks. Going to sleep sucks. The sleeping act feels great, but all the stuff around it just is the worst. It's my least favorite. The higher they go, harder they fall, 100%. And it's like you have it in the back of your head, but you're so fucking manic, you don't acknowledge it. It doesn't matter because you're so joyous and on whatever the fuck your body's feeding you. It's crazy. Grief is a beast unto itself, 100%. And fuck if you got anything else going on. I think being ill in the past few years has massively reduced my ability to mask because energy. It's annoyingly isolating. I love you in all your faces, just an FYI. And I've seen you in the pains, and you're still great. 100%, I was scared of that too, and why I went so long unmedicated, which contributed to me flunking out of college the first time around. Same. Yep. 100% same. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, the things that just being medicated and going to therapy did for me were so simple to, I'm just going to say normal people, but people that don't have whatever my shit is. It just seemed easy for them, i.e., like, I had to fight for financial aid every fucking quarter. I went to a school that was a quarter system, so every 3 months I would apply for financial aid, and it's such a fucked up system. This is very U.S. I can only speak to personal experience. I can't say that this is all over the U.S., but to Washington State, this is how it would work. You had to apply for financial aid every month, or every quarter, at the beginning of the quarter. My parents made too much money, so I was just pulling loans, which I didn't understand because I was a dumb kid, and my mom was just signing them off. So every 3 months I had to apply for these, but you don't hear whether or not you were approved or denied for them until a week after classes have started. So there's this grace period in most schools that's like a week to 2 weeks where you can actually attend a class, usually up until the first test or quiz, and get a feel for whether or not you're going to do okay. And if you just are having a really hard time, failing really fast, not understanding, or something horrible happens in your life, etc., extraneous circumstances, you can drop the class and get a refund for it, but they won't tell you if you get your financial aid, whether or not it's approved or denied, until right after that point. So for like 2 to 3 weeks of sitting in class, you're just having an existential crisis about whether or not you're even going to be able to stay in this class, which for an ADHD person, you're already having a hard time paying attention because it's probably boring. It's probably physics, let's be real. No offense, physicists, shit's boring and really complicated. And so your brain is just torn in so many different ways. And then that date is crawling up where the professors will remind you, we're having a quiz tomorrow, and that's the last day to drop the class and get a full refund for your class. And you're not going to hear about financial aid until the Monday afterwards. And if you get rejected by financial aid because your parents make too much money, you have to write a like essay about what you're doing this quarter, why you're going to school, blah, 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 blah. And if you ever take a class outside of the assigned major you declare to your financial aid, they will deny it. But it's bar impossible, especially after your first 2 years of college, to get a full class schedule every quarter of just your assigned major classes. And it's not advised, especially when you get in the 200, 300 level, 400, 500 level classes. Those are fucking massively hard classes where you have like 3 1 hour blocks of class a week and then 2 6 hour labs per week. Imagine taking three of that a week, 3 times that a week. That would be 3 classes a quarter in your design major. So like that's how I got a minor in psychology, was I was filling in with psychology classes and I would deny my fucking financial aid. I would have a panic attack. It was I this is why I say I blame college for my psychoses cuz it was like the fucking tipping point where my like for me writing that paper and finding financial aid was having an anxiety attack. For my roommate it was just like, "Ah, fuck." She'd type something up in 15 minutes and walk it to the office and just hand it to a lady. I would borderline shit myself doing that because I was so scared of being rejected. Because, like, what do you do now? I have to pay for the class. You forced me to stay here long enough that I can't get a full refund for it anymore, but you're denying me financial aid because my parents make too much money, but they won't pay for my college. And then you pop me out into society and expect me to trust fuck all? I don't think so. Okay, OCHEM's the hardest class I ever took. I'm bitter about physics, and I think I've told you guys this before. You probably remember Stronlin. My physics teacher was this old ass fucker that had tenure. I'm not exaggerating. He was 84, and he looked. I mean, like one eye was permanently closed. And the first fucking day of class, he just walks in kind of late, sits at the bench, and it's a 101 or whatever the first of the series was for the first series of physics for a science major. So it's a pretty stacked class. It's like 200 kids or whatever, 200 freshmen probably. And he says the first things out of his mouth, this is the most failed class on campus. Only 23% of you will pass my class. 15% of you are currently retaking the class for the second time. And then he handed out the syllabus. So, like, what the fuck? He just set me up to be, like, panic stricken about that class. But OChem was the worst class I ever took in my entire life. But I'm glad it was also the worst class for a lot of people because I always thought it was the way I took it. I'm an idiot, and I like this is why I have large tattoos instead of tiny ones everywhere. I like to get a large chunk of something done in the minimal time and just get it the fuck over with. Like, I don't know, I'm a destination person, not the journey in between. So they offered OChem as a not advanced, an accelerated summer course where you would take OChem 1 and OChem 2 in one quarter during the summer, which was a shorter quarter than any other quarter. So you still had like 2 weeks off at the end of the quarter for like a summer break or something like that. And I was like, I can do that. I did, just in case you're wondering. I did, but like, what? Don't do that. Worst experience. And my OChem 1 teacher was awesome. He was actually a teacher I had previously for a different inorganic class. He was an awesome professor. My teacher for OChem 2 was a pregnant woman. She was like 7 or 8 months pregnant, and she straight up told us in class while handing out the syllabus, I won't have office hours. I'm not coming back next quarter, and I don't care much. And that was the one where you had to learn chair confirmation. It was horrid. Like, she just did not give a fuck. She could do whatever she wanted. She wasn't coming back. It was crazy. Bad reviews didn't matter. It was why it was like living this weird surreal nightmare. It was horrible. Horrible. Oakham was horrible. Horrible. Oakham's really hard no matter what, though, is what I've learned. Because, like, going to school and feeling like it was, I never spoke like this because all my friends were, like, getting B's and still partying and drinking and maintaining relationships. And I was like, okay, well, fuck. I've given up all of those other things and I can't pass anything, so I'm not going to talk about it. And talking about it later in life, I'm like, oh, it was hell for everyone. No one enjoys organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is ugly. Everything's brown. Ick. But also so fucking hard. So fucking hard. Oh my god. I also just added a minor of organizational leadership to my degree. Isn't that how it goes? You just end up with so much stupid minors. Oakham is the worst. Here's a carbon. Do 500 distinctly different things with it in 3D confirmation. And I've told you guys this before. This is why I was terrible. I can't sculpt. I'm terrible, like, sculpting art-wise. It's the worst for me. Actually, I found my Oakham set the other day. It's crazy. My inorganic chemistry set, my little balls and sticks. I found them organizing a box. Wild. Anyways, everything is in 3D. I don't know what it is wrong with my brain. I don't think it has anything to do with neurospicy. I think there's just something about my brain that's different, where I have a really hard time maintaining the image of a 3D thing. For some reason. Flat, 2D, fucking give it to me. I can do it all day. But a 3D thing, my brain starts to rewrite it or forget pieces of it as I'm working on it. It's like long division. Like, I can get the answer before my hand is physically able to write down all the work. So oftentimes I would get marked down because I wouldn't have all the work on a math problem. But, like, my brain did it faster than I could. But I've already forgotten all the in-between. Like, I couldn't recreate it, if that makes sense. And you're going to get, because if it's wrong, they want to see your work and tell you where you got wrong. And I'm like, I physically can't. It's tiger beetle syndrome. Professors who brag that people don't pass their class are the worst. A professor that has a 23% passing rate should be fired, in my opinion. That's horrific. Hating all the American school system, it's terrible. I would have passed that class to spite him. I mean, I did, mystically. I have a knack of passing by the actual skin of my teeth. Like, just, something about the panic in my body gets something happens when I'm in sheer panic mode that I will scrape by. Like, I've never flunked out of a class for trying. I failed out of a class because I straight up played Zelda instead. That was a bad time. Dude, I say it all the time. C's get motherfucking degrees. And it doesn't pay to get A's because once you graduate, no one cares what your grades were. I have not one time in my life been requested transcripts outside of school. Nobody fucking cares. Oh, you got out with a degree? Good fucking job. That's it. Never. For medical, they don't even look at your transcripts. No shit. They don't even look at your degree. They just want to see that you're board certified, meaning you have that your license is up to date, being paid on every year, like I bitch about all the time. That's all they care about. Because they're assuming if you have that medical board certified license, then you've graduated, because you have to graduate with a certain degree to take those tests. But they don't even look at, I've never even asked what school I go to. I went to multiple. I went to like 5 different schools because I was trying to get my program done as fast as possible. Never even been asked. It's crazy. Some people can't think in 3D. No shit, that's pretty normal for most people. They view 3D space as 2 separate 2D planes. I wish you were around to explain that to my teacher when I was trying to explain why I can't like remember. It's so weird trying to remember the 3D, and they wouldn't let us have little models because then everybody could see what you were doing during a test and like copy you. And it was so hard. I'm like, I have to physically have it in my hand because I'm forgetting it as I'm doing it in my head. It was hell. It was pure hell. C's get degrees. I hope the AC is on hell. They don't. They really don't. Just, can you do this job and not hurt anybody?
With Satan's
Great.
cock.
Got a dog hair on my nose. I felt it. Atif, thank you so much for subbing to the class, keeping the classy alive and giving any swings for 7 fucking months. That's a long time, and I appreciate you. Go forth and be consensual in all the ways, because nothing in this world is sexier than pure sober consent. The only reason for a first is to take a master's, 100%. And these days, I don't know about it how it is the rest of the world, but in America, like, I don't know anyone that gives a fuck about a master's. It's like you either are excited about a bachelor's or you need a PhD. Like that master's, I don't know. And a master's is before a PhD. I don't know if you can skip it or not, or if you can like just bulk it all into a PhD. But for the most part, people don't give a fuck. I don't know why anybody would even get a master's anymore unless you were getting a PhD. Why? It's excellent, right? Why? There's no pay increase. Not that that's all that's important, but like, it's not like you're more likely to get a job having a master's. They'll be wondering if you're getting your PhD. It's just such an odd thing. My delusions, please. I mean, no shit. If you're doing a master's, fucking get the PhD. It's like a year extra. You could probably do it with the same professor. Why not? Call yourself doctor. Did you see a fuzzball? I didn't even see a fuzzball. They're so fuzzy. They're getting groomed in like a week and a half. They need it so bad. I first was stressed about getting good grades, but I quickly realized all that matters is the fucking piece of paper. 100%. 100. Literally, the only reason I ever cared about my grades was to like buffer when I eventually failed something. Like I was like, oh great, I got a B on this. So eventually, like when I don't get a great grade, this will buffer my overall grade. Like that was all I really cared about. That was it. What up, Mandel? How are you, love? I think that's a Master's of Business Associate, right? Master's Business Associates. Is that a master's? In the medical world, getting a PhD means you become a doctor, and I didn't need none of that. I like the hands-on with patients. I'd much rather be hanging out with a patient than sitting in an office writing orders all day. What's an LMH? What are those? The MBA is important too, but apart from those few unique subjects, it's a stepping stone to a PhD. What is can you explain why the MBA is important? I know nothing, which is odd, I know, considering owning my own business. I know nothing about business. I was told that by my physics teacher. He explained to the class how thinking in 3D wasn't as common as people think. So take that with a grain of salt because that was one teacher's opinion. I mean, that's one person on my side. I still passed, like I said, by the skin of my teeth, like survival mode, but it wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't great. I didn't get great grades. My wife's master's was 3.5 years. Her PhD was 6. What is it in T? 6 years? What's her PhD? And I'm genuinely curious. That's insane. And again, like I can only speak to medicine, and like it might be faster or less time because you end up doing that like 6-year residency ish, give or take a few years, and that might be considered part of it. Wow. Damn. Holy dick arts. That's damn. Congrats. I mean, I'm impressed. I very rarely have met someone who subjected themselves to more college than myself. You determined bitch. You couldn't pay me to go back to school. It was such a degrading experience for me. I've never felt worse about myself ever in my life than every moment of college ever. Oh, she is smart. Oh, you found yourself a smart. Her PhD was doing 6 years research on Angelman syndrome. I'm gonna Google. We're gonna learn today. That's the only reason I would ever go for a PhD is if I was going into research of something. Angelman, is it Angelman? I really hope I'm saying that right. Angelman syndrome is a rare genetic condition that affects the nervous system and causes severe physical and learning disabilities. Boo! A person with Angelman syndrome will have a near normal life expectancy, but they will need support throughout their life. That's such a fucking sad, not good description of something that sounds terrible. But like, damn. Okay, here's more. A little bit better. Angelman syndrome usually isn't detected until developmental delays become noticeable, usually when a baby is about 6 to 12 months old. Symptoms include lack of crawling or babbling, minimal speech, and frequent smiling and laughter. And frequent, not infrequent, frequent smiling and laughter. Inability to walk, move, or balance well, ataxia, is also a symptom. Treatment includes anti-seizure medication. Oh, so it's a brain? Oh, you got a super smarty. Similar to but distinct. It sounds similar to but distinct. It sounds like it's a different part of the brain. Damn. So a psychotherapist, LMHC, and EDS. Basically, researching LMHC requires a master's at least to get licensed. EDS is an intermediary between master's and PhD that allows them to work in the field. There's a lot of psychology degrees like that, and again, Sexton could speak more to this, but I had a friend who did this, and to become a again, it's been a bit, but basically, you can get a psychology degree, but you can't actually perform counseling or like active psychology counseling with patients until you at least have a master's. Ish? Is it something like that? There's something to take on patients, but I don't think you need a PhD. Oh, I mean, it's really sad. I've worked at many different hospitals. Not all hospitals are the same, please. Like anybody would assume that. But some of the hospitals I worked at, I noticed there was a certain amount of docs who would only work 1 or 2 days in ICU, and I found it was because they had to financially survive. And it sucked because I found this out later, but I had to work with them on these days, and they were often the doctors I dreaded working with because they were so unpersonal. They had no bedside manner whatsoever. And I'm not saying your wife had this, but what I noticed was these docs had to take on ICU shifts just to survive. They were research people. They were fucking the smart. I like, no shit, just being in the medical industry, I don't need a nice doctor. I would want that person as my doctor. I don't care about bedside manner. I just want to survive, best case scenario. And that person would make sure that happens because they don't see you as a human. They see you as a project, and they will get an A. I'd rather that person, but I understand people that don't work in the medical industry and aren't super familiar with it and have a distrust. They need some comfort, and I was that person. I will give you all the comfort in the world. Like I always try to hold people's hand if they need it or whatever. Not unconsensually, of course, but like I'm very there for my patient on a human level as well as the medical level. And it's same being a research in any medical. You make pizzle. I mean, you sometimes make less than people are making minimum wage in Seattle. It's crazy. It's truly crazy. Just because you don't have, I mean, you're not working in the hospital where all the money's coming in. Because preventing disease doesn't make money, which is disgusting to even say out loud, but it's true. Oh no, she's working on Fragile X syndrome right now. She got a $1.4 million grant from a DoD. Dude, fuck yes. Does she have like a team working with her? I can easily imagine pretty much anything in 3D. No need to close my eye. You're very lucky. Very lucky. I can do that with 2D to a certain extent, but only for a few seconds. I really can't hold it. Yeah, I was going to say, Kaki, what is that called? Did we figure out there was a name for it where you... I mean, it's really bizarre, but you straight up, you don't... There's more people that have this, but they cannot hold a physical image in their head of something. And oftentimes people like this are artists, and Kaki is an artist. It kind of makes sense. They were thinky people and not talky people. Exactly. Yes. And working with them at first, I was like, what an asshole. Like, just to give you an instance of what I mean by like, no bedside manner. Like, say I had to do a terminal extubation. That doctor would come in the room and say, don't worry, it'll only take about 30 minutes, and stand with their arm crossed at the end of a bed, watching someone choke to death while their family was holding their hand and bidding them farewell. Like, but they're not being cruel. They're not being cold. They're not doing this to them, it's an equation. You terminally extubated someone who has a tumor pushing on their airway. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes. And they're waiting to call time of death. But to me, a fuzzy person who is just had to terminally extubate a human being, that looked so fucking horrible. I would oftentimes drag them out of the room and be like, okay, we have to have a talk. I know you don't see it, but what these patients see is the devil at the end of the bed. Please go sit outside for a while. I'll call you when I need you. And it's just, they don't find offense in that either. They're like, okay. They don't care where they stand and watch the clock. Like, it's just a different personality type that my age gave me the wherewith how to talk to that person and understand, like, I had to get over feeling rude because they don't see it as rude. You know? To them, it's just me asking them to use a number 2 pencil. It's very odd. Aphantasia, that's it. Oh, no shit. Sex, you have the same thing? See? It's not that uncommon. Fuck yes. Yeah, where you can't hold a mental image. Yeah. You think in 3D. See, I do not. I think in like a picture. I don't even know. I don't think I think in pictures. My brain is just taken up by an internal dialogue 24/7 all the time. And I think that's what gets in the way often of like trying to remember an entire math equation or holding a 3D picture is my mental dialogue is screaming over it, and that's way loud, way more loud, and I'm way more accustomed to listening to that than I am anything else going on in my head. 2 to 5% of the population, damn. That's more people than with Ehlers-Danlos. Ehlers. This thing. What's it called? Words escape me. EDS, thank you. We'll just go with EDS. This one. I just called it stretchy for a bit, but I noticed people were like, what the fuck? What is stretch? I can't say the word. So I'm just gonna. It's the stretchy stuff. Inner monologue is me. Yeah, it's not pictures, it's just constant me either thinking about a conversation I had, one I will be having, one I might have, conjecturing 20 different versions of that at all given times, throwing a lighter over my shoulder. So, Crayon, you know, I've thought about that exact thing. Like, I read a lot. And part of the reason I love to read is that I get to create my own fantastical image of whatever the author is describing to me. And one of the craziest things that oftentimes gets in the way of me enjoying a book is I'll start thinking, like, no matter how well this author described something, I will never picture it the way they pictured it. Ever. Where is the thing? Do we have to pull out the clip? The clip of Vissy and I looking for a lighter? Ehlers Dahana Schlabada. That one. Want to know something really weird? CK, 30% of people, I learned about this very recently. I didn't know the percentage. 30% of people don't have an internal dialogue. How do you even speak out loud? I learned about this year. I can't remember who told me, but it has boggled my brain. Dude, this song came on some mix recently, no shit, and it just, I was like, God damn, the Cardigans, though. This was such an underrated song. I'm gonna start it over because I didn't even realize it was playing. It's Erase and Rewind by the Cardigans, by the way, if anybody's wondering. Such an underrated, good bop. It's risen, or what, it drips. I don't know. Youths in their words these days. I've aged out. The easiest way to know if you think in 2D or 3D is to close your eyes and pick a shape like an apple that's uneven. Then you make it rotate, and if the whole apple is unique, then you can think in 3D. And if it is just more even and rotating, you think in 2D. In case anyone wants to know. So no shit, that makes a lot of sense. One thing that I struggle with in art of all kinds is avoiding symmetry and patterns. My brain, and I just assumed most people are like this, but maybe it's not everybody, is so hardwired. Like if I'm trying to paint a landscape, nature is very rarely creates a symmetrical tree line, you know what I'm saying? It's random. And my brain wants to create symmetry constantly, and I have to fight it and flip paintings around and paint backwards on them, paint them upside down just to force myself out of a pattern or symmetry because it doesn't look real once there's a pattern that's visible to the human mind. It's so weird. Maybe it's part of that, though. I don't know, Rage. I think they're just silent on the inside. I don't understand it. No internal dialogue. I I'm thinking while I'm asleep, man. The moment I wake up in the morning, I feel like I'm waking up into a conversation that started before me. I don't even know. I don't usually think before I say, it just kind of works. So, cocky question. If you're like in a quiet room, just like crocheting, what's happening up here? Is it like loop, pull, loop, pull? Like, what is. Genuine question. Because I fight the constant screaming in my head all the time. It's nonstop. It's part of the reason I can't sleep at night. It's wild. It's just, like I said, I'm either thinking about and redoing a conversation I've had during the day, anyone that happened during stream, honestly. I have panic attacks about, like, oh my god, did I just read someone's comment in my head and not answer out loud, but I answered in my head and convinced myself I actually answered? Maybe that person really needed someone to talk to that day, and that's the one fucking day that I didn't say anything out loud because my brain's so stupid. Or I'm projecting a conversation that might happen in the future, or one that's happening right now. Like, how? Humans, man, fucking wild. They truly are, and fascinating. I had a short while where I'd imagine cars I saw on the road in my head, spinning them around and changing the colors for fun. I can't do that because I have a. It's so weird, man. Psychology people might know what this is, but like when I was a kid, my mom would be like, "Count sheep in your head," and I would picture sheep jumping over a fence. But slowly, and it's happening, even if I just close my eyes, it starts to happen. The sheep start to morph and become bigger and smaller, but also are making the equivalent static noise slash feeling like you're licking a tube TV. While they're, so like one sheep might suddenly just be as big as the screen in my internal vision, and it's just TV static for a second, and then I just start getting frustrated because I can't see the sheep behind it that are still jumping over the fence, and I don't know if they're growing or shrinking. Little Katie, I don't do this anymore. Unmedicated Katie, I don't. It's the and it's that's the best way I can explain it is you can see the fuzz, the static of them. It's so weird. It's so weird. No shit, Bezabelli. Only when your eyes are closed, though, right? Your eyes are closed and you have a mental image and you try to like focus on one thing and suddenly everything around that thing becomes that weird blurred like tunnel vision static and that thing starts to blow up too big that you can't understand it or hear it anymore. I couldn't even tell you what the thing was. What is that? Isn't that weird? It's the chaos on the inside screaming. It's screaming to come out. I don't know if I have tinnitus. I do hear like a weird fuzz once in a while, though. Great song. Not a little loud, but great song. I love you, Hosier. No shit. Count sheep, what sheep? I never understood what people meant. Does Katie have AI generated? They're weaponized, fuzzy sheep. I have no idea. It's impossible for me. Make circles with one hand and try to make counter circles with the other hand. Makes me crazy. Oh, dude, same. There's actually like a trick to it. One of my art teachers taught me, but it's so not feasible in everyday life. If you can somehow freeze your shoulder with your pencil and only use or freeze your elbow, only use your shoulder to draw the circle. Use your body. You'll get do this. You'll have a perfect circle every fucking time. But if I draw a circle like this with one hand and then like this with one hand, they're never identical and I hate it. I have a lot of circle stencils because I'm too ADD. I'm too OCD for that. Gotta have a perfect circle, man. Can't do that. Counting sheep didn't work for me, but what I do is imagine that the inside of my brain pan is a giant white room, and I'm a tiny me in that giant white room, and the thoughts pass by over the top of the white. This sounds like the scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The bits of people being sent. I let them fade and fade to white. I just hold the image of the giant white expanse. I could probably do that with a giant black expanse. White makes me nervous. No shit, I actually trained myself to fall asleep when I'm not moving for a certain amount of time. Whom stuff? Yes, it was almost like an image would become superimposed larger into the scene it started in. Yes. 100%. So weird. I haven't felt that or experienced that in a really long time, but I used to get it a lot as a kid. I would watch the lights that would kind of glide through the darkness of my eyes being closed. Those lights would just become giant fuzzy licked TVs. I don't know. This is what I experienced. I've been told it's migraine aura. As a kid, I had Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It made things feel bigger and smaller to the point that I'd feel sick. And the fuzz, static, yep, visual snow. I mean, bitch, you know me and my fucking migraines. I wonder. Excuse me. Yeah, because I can't. That's the visual snow. No shit. So can I tell you a story? So when I was a kid, really young, we lived in Eastern Washington. This was before my dad died, and one of my best friends, they became our friends because we owned a motel, and they would come down a couple times a week and use the showers at our pool because they lived up in the mountains and had no running water and no electricity. No shit, they had a fucking outhouse you had to walk through the woods to get to in the middle of the night if you needed to take a piss. It was some rustic living. They lived by candlelight. But I loved going to their house because we would play pretend in the woods and we'd act like we were fairies and we played board games and we read books and it was just awesome and it felt like camping and it was just the best time ever. But one night we were like sitting at the dinner table making no shit, my mom actually pulled this out while I was home just like a week ago. The thing that I made on this night of this story I'm telling you, and I swear to God I was like 6 years old. It's so bizarre. But we were making these beaded necklaces that were like Native American inspired or whatever, I don't know, and we were doing it by candlelight in the pure dark. And I started getting that feeling that the beads were too slick or too rough or something, and just starting to feel way overstimulated. And I started getting visual snow, but I convinced myself the candlelight was burning little glow bugs into my vision because all we had was a literal candle on the table. So every time you had it in your peripheral for too long, you'd get like that little burn mark in your vision. I convinced myself that was happening. And so I ended up going to bed a little bit early because I felt shitty. And I had this like weird, maybe pre-migraine aura. I definitely was getting a horrible headache. But I went to bed early in the pure dark silence of a house with no electricity. Can't explain to the peace and horror of that. And they had books. Their house walls were just lined in books because they've never had electricity or anything. So this is how they lived. And they read a lot. And Katie thinks like, okay, I'm going to bed a little bit early, in the darkness, alone. I have my little candle, I guess. I'm going to read something. What do I pick off the shelf? That fucking series, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark or whatever. If you know, you know. The art in them was horrific. Awesome, horrific, like weird, scratchy, black and white, like scary. I remember the Scarecrow story. So many. And I just sat in the darkness of a house with no electricity reading that alone for hours with a migraine. That might have been an establishing point in who I became as an adult. I'm going to be honest. I'm just realizing that now. Maybe. Harold. I own them. I know. I literally pointed behind me because I know they're behind me somewhere. I have like 3 copies of them actually, wherever they are. I don't know though. I just reorganized this a little bit. It's still messy as fuck, but I've got them back there. I know they are, so I feel them. But yeah, those stories fucked me up. But I loved them, and the art in them was so good. Probably to do with the Chiari IIH because I can't remember life without 24/7 365 visual snow static tinnitus auras. Ugh. That's the fucking worst. I had a teacher that would read to us from that book sometimes. No shit. I mean, I was going to like rural America school, so it was probably, you know, it wasn't a Christian book to read or about little caterpillar eating too many cookies or whatever the fuck children books are about these days. I had a friend at 10 that loved Stephen King movies, and kid still is scarred from, yeah, kid me is still scarred from it. That was, like, I love horror, but it ruined me. That's the only reason I can't stand clowns is that fucking movie. I liked the book. The book didn't scare me. And to be honest, the clown just became, like, the thing that I became afraid of because the scene that scared me the most was the scene with the blood bubbles and the children giggling and the balloons with the little girl and her abusive father. That's like, to this day, a silent bathroom really freaks me out. Like, I need a fan on or some water running because silence means balloons and children giggling, probably in a clown. Sorry, David. Do you have cookies? Anyone else get that exploding head syndrome? It's rare for me and not a problem, but now and again when I'm falling asleep, there's a noiseless bang in my head. It's a bit like a crackling joint, but there's no physical sensation. Interesting. The only thing that came to mind immediately was like the feeling of falling while you're falling asleep, that jerk. But mine just ends up like if I picture something too hard in my head, like the sheep jumping, they do this fuzzy blowout, or if it's so silent, like House Without Electricity silent. I don't know how to explain it because literally without even, well, I've never not had a fan on. I like a cold house. It's weird. Not weird. I've noticed it's not weird. But a silent house, I start to focus on like my heartbeat, and the sound of that will start to become whatever that fuzzy blowout in my brain is, and I start to get like, ugh, I gotta open my eyes and like go get water or something. It's so weird. I just can't focus on anything. Not the kid orgy scene. No, because I read them when I was a kid. So to me, I was like, ooh, dirty, naughty, awesome. But do you ever do that? Read books as an adult? Going back and reading books and being like, oh, what the fuck? Speaking of, before anyone else brings it up, I did read the news about Neil Gaiman. Anybody know if that was confirmed or not? Because that's some shit. Two different women came out and said he assaulted slash a'd them. Yeah. I watched Cruel Intentions really young too. Yeah, thinking like, ooh, these badass teenagers being sexy together. And as an adult, I'm like, oh, yucky. What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, again, it's two accusations. I don't believe Gaiman has said anything, and I just. Gross. Really gross. I know, right? I just like. At this point, I refuse. I'm refusing and going to attempt to not be a fan of the artist anymore. I just want to disconnect from every human being that's ever made anything I love. Like, wow, great music. Who made it? Are they dead? No? Then I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want them to die, but I don't want to, like, just. I just want to enjoy something. I just want to. And, like, what does it say about me that so many things I enjoy have been created by monsters? Do I want to know? Let me mark that up my bingo card. Here's my bingo card I made during the Twitch. Stop it. Is it? Everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone is a piece of shit. Everyone is a piece of shit. Free space. Bingo, motherfuckers. Dude, being an adult and hearing songs from your childhood, reading books, cartoons, right? I mean, nothing's sacred. Ring Around the Rosie was like about ashes of dead people in your pocket, about the plague or some shit. It's dodgy because the podcast that it was revealed on is a right-wing grift anti-queer podcast run by Boris Johnson's sister. As far as I recall, at least one of them women said it was consensual. She just didn't enjoy it and emphasized it was not assault. Thank you. This is why I wanted to ask, because I couldn't find any of that on the interwebs. And again, like, disgusting if it's true, but like, I haven't heard anything at all. And I want it to be not true. That would be great. The Johnny Depp thing? Did I miss more? See, I stay off my phone and shit when I'm visiting family because A, my parents have terrible reception, so it's pointless. But you know, just trying to relax. And I missed a lot of nasty news when I was gone. What? Two accusations 20 years apart. Gaiman has responded, oh no shit, and his response sucks. But right now I'm marking him down as a shitty lover rather than an out art artist. Okay, I'll go with shitty lover. I mean, I can still enjoy someone's work if they just suck in the bed, as long as there was consensual shitty sex. The Black Plague, thank you. Yeah, Ring Around the Rosie was about the Black Plague, thank you. In this world, oh, hi Bubba. In this world, it's pretty much impossible to enjoy something without having bad people involved. I mean, No one's perfect, and I'm not saying someone out there probably thinks I'm a bad person, but I can say at my core, like, I'm not like any of the universal horrible things that make you just like I feel like there's a line of like you're an asshole versus oh, you are a terrible human, right? Because no one's perfect. I'm the villain in somebody's story, and I'm sorry for that. I don't know who. I'm not saying anything specifically, but like it's at this point, if you're in your mid 30s, probably a villain in somebody's story. But as long as you're not breaking that line of like crossing like what is that? Oh, okay, not anything new. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I was terrible. Right, Cocky? It's shocking. Shocking. But I mean, I feel that in most, I would say in humans, because people that don't have this instinct to not seek out children's doing the sex, they don't have this, and I don't think they're human. They're subhuman. There's something else that just needs to be thrown in a pit with some potatoes and left to their own devices, neutered. I don't fucking know what to do there. Ick. There's something in humans that's like, no matter how horny I get and how many things I shove in my butt, I'm not gonna look for children's sex. Like that never, we've all been so fucking weirdly horny that we've considered some strange things, but that's never even been, it's like when people get angry and accidentally say the N-word. No, the N-word was in you all along. You're using it somewhere in your daily life for it to come out when you're pissed off. It's the same kind of concept, but I have like sex offending people in my family. I do not consider them human. I don't care if you're blood related or not. There's shitty people everywhere. You're not human anymore. That's disgusting. I, as a self-proclaimed like pervert who gets raunchy horny sometimes, that's never been there. There's something different between that person and I. Something's different. You can be a nasty, horny little boy, little creature of sex and nonsense, and not do that. It's so possible. We're all doing it. Like right now. I guarantee one of you is touching yourself, and you're not thinking about kids. It's amazing, right? Amazing how we all managed not to do that. You want to come say hi? It's so dark in here today. How's my boy? Hi, Bubba. How's your day been? Oh, big stretch, bud. Look at those pretty teeth. Look at those pretty teeth. We brushed those. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty, Bubba. They smell like your weird beefy toothpaste, though. That's odd. Beef and mint. You're just the sweetest boy. He was up with me all night. He's the nicest dog. He's probably just as tired as I am. He just sat with me while I moaned in sadness and weird women pain. Thank you. You got beautiful eyelashes, bud. Envious. We got to get you groomed soon. Our groomer had like lost 2 employees and got one new one, but because these guys are big, they're advanced groomer, so they had to wait to get a later appointment. Because you're huge. And by huge, I mean perfect, obviously. He's such a good boy. Everyone has had some shit, has some shit and some good, especially the extremely nice ones always seem to come in. Dude, I know I watch too much true crime, but I always think of people like BTK, where we all know what BTK, i.e., bind, kill, torture, was known for doing. He was a Boy Scout leader, a guest pastor, sermon giver at his church, renowned member of the community. Nothing in his past is able to describe the human he became. He himself says it was just one day a light switch turned on and he was like, you know what I'm going to do? BTK. It's wild the amount of true crime within the Mormon church, let me fucking tell you. And it's usually like killing over the appearance of what your family looks like. It is so wild how many husbands kill their wives because their wives want a divorce and their husbands are like, divorce looks bad. Because that makes more sense. Not even once. Minty beef, it is. It's like the lightest minty and beef. Hi, Bill. I didn't even notice. You guys traded. What happened? Do we need to take a break? Do you need to go outside? Do you need to go potty? Ma'am? I know you can't see her. It's just her nose poking out from under my desk. That's it. I didn't even know she was down there. I take it a step further and go out of my way to protect my school kiddos. I think that's part of being a human too. We've talked about that before, Kaki, and I know you agree on that, but there's something in a human, again, people that don't have this I don't think are human, that drives you to like protect those who are weaker than ourselves. Who's, i.e., children and the elderly, or people who have a disability and obviously can't escape whatever harm they're in. There's something in our bones where you don't even think, you literally don't think once or twice, you don't think, you just like, oh, help. People that don't have that, I don't think are people. I think that was broke. It's broke. Yeah, broke. Some of those fun, I'm not saying it's all of them. Again, never generalizing, but a shit ton of true crime comes out of that Mormon church and they try to hide it hard. And it's 9 times out of 10 a spouse killing the other spouse because their relationship troubles don't look good in the community's eye, but murder is better. And they no shit say that. They're like, I'd rather go to hell and know my whole family goes to hell than live in the hell we were living. It's crazy. Insane. Just truly insane. Her leg, by the way, is doing so much better. We went to the dog park for the first time in like a month, and she lasted an hour before I even saw her. She wasn't limping, but like just kind of being a little bit more tender on the leg, on all four the whole time running around. It was so cute. She was like sprinting. You're doing so much better, but we're still being gentle, huh? Why don't you just come say hi? She's just over here high-fiving me instead. Want to come say hello? Here. Hello, Miss Ma'am. You need to be groomed so bad. You're so big. How's your day been? She looks like a 80s band groupie hair. Look at those curls. Girl. Elegance, Grace. She'll lick all over your face. You need to go outside. You're clawing me. It's so soft. Her hair, her hair mats really easily. Her hair is a lot finer than Trix. Trix is coarse like mine, so it doesn't mat, but hers mats really easily, so I have to constantly brush it. And it's hair, so I just use all my like natural hair products in it, like the, detangling, smoothing stuff. And then I go through it with I can never remember the name of the comb, but it's the one that it's like on a square thing and there's all these metal pegs coming out of it, but they've got tips on them so they don't hurt them. And you basically just like rake it in there. But I have to because this will just start to turn into like one little dreadlock in the middle of her head, but it makes her so soft. You're so soft. You're like a well kept sheep. She doesn't give a fuck. A slicker. Thank you. Slicker brush. I usually have it out. I have to hide it because they want to eat it. They've eaten, like, not eaten, but they've destroyed 2 slicker brushes. I don't know if it's because it smells like their, like, skin, because I'm raking it into their flesh, but they eat them if I leave them out, so I have to hide them. Yes, she needs to be groomed well. That is true. Not just mom bathing groomed. Soon. None of us can wait for the day. You're so fuzzy right now. We're just gonna shave it all off and get you nice and naked for the summer. It's too hot, huh? Yeah, it's too fucking hot. What up, Falhorn? How are you, love? Isn't my pet llama the best? Thank you. Sometimes she moos if you're lucky. If they eat them, you can't use it on them again. I know. They, like, no shit, they pull all the little metal prongs out, but they don't eat any of it. Thank fuck, because then I'd be very concerned. I'm very grateful they don't eat it, but they just destroy it. They're little douchebags. The cutest, though. You're the cutest little douchebag. Still a douchebag, though. Okay. This is where we live now. Julian's recent update, all the dogs are doing good. That gives me peace in my soul because I've really been worried about Marbles. She's great to scritch. And you know what's crazy? So you guys know I've talked about how she's like a bitch whenever Zach's brother visits. So Rhiannon came over for a few minutes the other day. Literally, she just couldn't check into her hotel, so we came home so she could like freshen up off the flight, and shit like that. And I had a theory that maybe for some reason Lilith hates men. Um, we no reason, but for some reason Rod is the only dude ever that she hasn't immediately just shied away from, and she's not aggressive or anything. She just hides. She stays away from them for some reason. Wants to be in a different room. Hates them. Will not sit on the couch with them, but loves Vissy immediately. Like no warm up time whatsoever. Loved Rhiannon immediately. No warm up time whatsoever. Like acted like Rhiannon was part of the family and should be there. And I'm starting to think she's got a thing against mans, and I don't know why, because I've had her since day one, and nothing's ever happened with mans. Do you just hate them? Because you like women's and Rod, who's not a women's. See, and that's what I'm like. She is the dominant one. Like she does all the humping. It was a very nice elderly couple. I don't know how involved in her life the man was, though. The woman is absolutely the more involved in the dogs. And it's not like it's a major breeding thing. So maybe she just wasn't around mans or something. But I'm just glad she's just not in general a bitch. Because for a while there, I was like, are you just not going to like other people for the rest of both of our lives? It's going to be miserable. Nope. And it's not like she hates men's forever. It just takes days to accept a man in her life. But women, she's like, oh, whatever. Just not a problem. Immediately snuggles, like laid all over Vissy's laundry when we got back from Seattle. Didn't give a fuck. My ex's dog was shy around men as well, but that dog fucking loved me to the point my ex called her my dog. Oh, my girlfriend, she loved you though. See, she likes Zeke and Zeke is always here, but you know how, I say they forget Zach lives here. No matter what, if he comes down that hallway and doesn't speak first, she barks at the figure of a man, but she's never done that to me. So maybe she just didn't have men's around, and you just don't ever get used to it. You're 4.5, ma'am. But like when we go to the dog park, she's never aggressive. She's not aggressive towards any man at the dog park or woman or she doesn't give a fuck about the people at the dog park. There's dudes walking all around, doesn't care. Doesn't shy away from them, doesn't act afraid. It's only if they're in my house. Then you're neurotic and I just want to understand your brain that you're burying now. Protective of what though? Her dog got jealous at my ex and I snuggling on the couch with her and barked at us. That's precious. Maybe it's protective of the house, but like Trick isn't at all. Like he doesn't join in on it, and I just don't understand where it came from. Are you just that bitch? Okay. She's the dominant one. That's it. Maybe she just senses a challenge or something. She is definitely the dominant bitch. Like, not in an aggressive way, but she does all the humping. Where's Bill? There's Bill. Where's Bill? Where's Bill? Where's Bill? Hi, Taco. How are you, love? Trick is super sub. No shit. Not a joke. She will walk. She just gets in a mood sometimes, and she walks up behind him. She scoops one of his back legs up off the ground, holds it, and like slow mo humps at it. He doesn't hump anything. He don't give a fuck. He just stands there and waits for it to be over. She's just humping the air. It's pretty wild. Hi, Boba. What are you doing? Is it your turn now? You can always come say hi. Don't be afraid of her. She's just a bitch. She's the beard of this relationship, 100%. Cancelled? Lilith? For the humping? He doesn't care. Look at him. He's like, I don't know what she's doing. She's a dumb bitch. She's a dumb bitch. She thinks she's dominant. She doesn't even know that's just my wig. I don't have a vagina. Joke's on her. She'd have to F my penis. She can't, because it's a belly worm and it hides in my skin. I'm just here to let everyone know it's hidden and you can't get it either, so stop. You're such a sweet boy. Your sister's a conniving hoe, huh? Yeah. She's always thinking of ways to kill me and to eat my flesh. But she doesn't know where it is, so she can't do that. Oh, bud. The break time? I have to pee. You wanna pee? What got your attention? What? I don't know, nothing. It was a joke and I got you, you dumb bitch. It's your show now, bud. Uh, so, head empty. Derek. Head empty, fluff only, full of love. And a penis. It's hot. I would like my hair off now. Oh, nice burp. That was tasted bad in my mouth. uh, sometimes, like, I'm like, you want to be the boss? Go ahead. Less headache for me. That's Trick. He's like, I don't know what to do here, so I'm just gonna let it happen because you're stupid bitch. You don't even know what's happening. Cancel that haunted Victorian child. Thank you so much. When in fact Trick is the ghost of the house who hides in the dark hallways, mysterious, waiting for me to almost die, tripping over his body. Yeah, but if your legs are broken, you can't leave me. My master plan. He is a void, I'm telling you, and it's pretty lit in here. He's just really, he absorbs all the light. He's my stealth boy. He is. One of my lights isn't charged, so it's just a little darker than normal. If we get you in the light, can they see your beautiful face? Just the shine on your nose. If I pull his eye back, it just looks crazy. You're such a good boy. You're very handsome. You just absorb all the light in the room and no one can see you. Except your adorable little fangs. I'm hard to say MC Town. The voids just have a special place. They're just the sweetest. No shit, Rage. I actually took a picture the other day. The night that we came home from Seattle, Vissy was sitting on the floor over here, packing her bag, and we were doing laundry and whatnot because she literally had to go home the next day. And the dogs, of course, were clung. It's Lilith laying on the couch, and Trick was sprawled out on the floor behind Vissy, but all the lights were off. The only thing that was on was the monitor on my computer. and we were watching a movie or something, and I took a picture, and I'll have to print it or something or put it somewhere and show you guys. All you can see is his teeth behind her. That's it. His eyes are closed, but he's panting, and all you see is these little glowing, his little, I call him his orc teeth. Those little guys. He's little, you got the cutest little orc teeth. But he literally absorbs into the darkness, and that's all you could see. And it looked like a little vampire hanging out behind her on the floor. It was fucking precious. I forgot to show anybody. I'll have to put it on my pewter. Did you just need some attention? Show them your orc teeth, bud. They're so pretty. I don't know. I'm sure I know. Wanna go outside? Is that all I'm good for? Yeah. No shit, a pood saved your life. They save my life every day. Bill's just in a cinnamon roll at my feet. My grandma's poodle was my babysitter and almost walked into a deep lake by myself as a tiny toddler. And Terry, the pood's name, grabbed me by my suspenders before I hit the water. Poodles are water dogs, and I think they're known for saving, like dragging people out of the water. Because they drag fowl out of the water as well, but they don't hurt it or puncture it. They're soft mouths. I totally believe that. They are really smart dogs, but it's like optional intelligence. Most of the time, it's just that face. Just the world's cutest little orc teeth. Wait, I'm no longer using my cane and walking in the park. Oh, no shit! Dude! I mean, not only that, but you're walking outside in this nasty ball sack weather, Momo. Fuck yeah, cheers to that. Fissy, my love, how are you? I was just talking about how via you and through you and Rhiannon, I've discovered I'm pretty sure Lilith likes women and hates men. I don't know. That's a good way of putting it. Optional intelligence. Poods are smart as hell. They do dumb shit on purpose. Exactly. Yes. I feel like a boss sack now. Momo, have I ever told you about my great idea? A sentient ball sack that is also a chia pet that crawls around on your wall. No, none of your cars work? Oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. Now what? Oh god, smartest dog breed checking it. Poodles are only one fucking step under this. Just saying. Literally one. She's beautiful and perfect. That's all I have to say. Oh my god, Dawn, shut the fuck up. At least it didn't become that one dog that got famous, because one time it saved a kid from the water to get treats and decided to try to get more treats by pushing kids in so it could rescue them. My dogs would totally do that. Right? That's some smart dog behavior right the fuck there. That's what happens when they're too smart. That's a cat in a dog's body. Just picture a dog, or yeah, I guess a dog acting like a cat on a dog, just like glasses on a counter, just swiping the kids off the dog. So it's not the battery, a sensor issue. What does that mean? A sensor issue. What does that mean though? Cars are so electric these days. I honest to fuck am so confused about anything going on in them anymore. They're basically a computer. I say my dog has the smarts to cook me a 3-course meal, but also the smarts to poison it. Yes. So it has something to do with like the key well? Does the car turn over? Or does it not even I don't know how else to describe that. It doesn't turn why? It doesn't turn over at all. Fuck. Yeah, is there any like ignition turn on? Like does the battery turn the electrical part on at all? You know, before the point of turnover. Or turnover, I guess. It's a button. Okay, so battery connects and everything. Could be a worn out tumbler. It does turn on the electrical shit. It could be a worn out, like, depending on how old the car is and the key. Like, look at the key and see how worn it down it is or whatever. It could be the worn out. I think it's called the tumbler or whatever, but it's part of the entire key turnover. It's still the same mechanism in there. It just turns a thing inside via the button. But that can actually wear out. Like the parts that and then sit in it and turn it. It's the same mechanism on the inside. It's just instead of a key going in and out, it's inside the barrel or whatever. I don't think Vissy, yours isn't 100% electrical, right? Electrical cars are always on. The fuck? That giant ass lithium battery, no shit. That seems like a waste. Not electric. Okay. All my grandma's dogs were nannies. Hold on. Because my grandma was a military dog trainer, so I lived with lots of various big dogs since I was at her place for a lot of my childhood. She's also the one who taught me how to behave around dogs, how to respect their boundaries, etc. You'll love this then. I went to the dog park a couple days ago with the dogs, and there were 2 shepherds and a Belgian Malinois there, and I got kisses. That's all I'm going to say. I'm the bitch who gets down on all fours with the dogs, and I'm just like, I love all of you. Kill me or love me. I don't care. And they always love me because dogs are the best. But I got kisses from all of them, and one of them looked so much like a shepherd I had when I was a kid, a German shepherd. Like that really smaller, lower, short-haired version. I don't know the difference. But we had one when I was a kid that was like a failed cop dog. She was too nice, and it looked just like her, and they were just so sweet. I love them. My kitty's smarts was in escaping that house in her prime. Oh god, for fuck's sake, we'd check and double check near the door. She wasn't there. Open door, crack, she'd bolt out. That's because cats are mysterious and liquid. Run out, climb a tree, and get stuck. Okay, so she was also a little dumb. She would wait. Your aunt had a German Shepherd that would herd kids towards the parents. I love that. I say hi to every single dog, and I have to apologize to their owners for distracting them. Hard same. Like, I'm that person that I don't make eye contact with strangers on the street, but if you have a dog, I'm like, oh my god, you're the cutest thing that's ever existed. Holy shit. Like, we would be best friends if you weren't on a string, you know? Like, I don't really acknowledge the person on the other end, though. I'm all about that dog. If you have a dog, I probably would already like you, though. I'm just gonna... No shit, Vissy and I did the 2 literally every single dog, and I could probably, if I thought hard enough, name all the dogs that we oohed and awed at, but I couldn't tell you the human being attached for the fucking life of me. Not once. Do you remember the golden retrievers in the little, like, American flag jackets? Oh my god, so cute. We were on Friday Harbor, like, the day before, the weekend of 4th of July or whatever, and so people had their dogs decked out, and it was 2, like, super fluffy, pale blonde golden retrievers, the really low to the ground ones, but they had little vests on that were like American flag vests. I don't care. It was so cute. I think they were sequenced. Fuck, they were cute. Totally, David, 100%. I mean, if I had to pick, dude, that's a hard one. Between a dog and a human? I might just jump off the cliff. I don't know. My auntie used to breed chocolate labs. I grew up with a chocolate lab. No shit, my dad named her Brown Dog. Issues with breeding aside, we'd get to go over, lie on the ground, and have, oh my god, litters of puppies. Shut up. No shit, you had a dog that did the herding thing. She was part collie. Mom calls us. She'd be right behind us. That's precious, though. I've had a lady do that to my dogs. My dog's mine. I would never steal anyone's dogs. But if your dog wants to lick my face and bond with me forever, I'm here for it. But I'm also, if they want to kill me, like, I'm that Like, when I met Rod's dogs, I literally just rolled on the ground and I was like, whatever. Love me or hate me. We'll be best friends eventually. They could have bit my ears off. I just didn't. I just give it in. I just give up. I love them so much. It's a problem. Yes, the random woman was like, where's the dog parade? And Vissy was like, no, we did not have a dog with us, just an FYI. No response. When is the dog parade? Vissy, I don't live here. What? And then 5 minutes later, we see 2 golden retrievers that had little sequence jackets on. That was the only animals I think I saw on the entire island. I hope that woman found her parade on Friday Harbor. I truly do, because she was dedicated. We just weren't the ones to find it for her. Cats are quantum objects. It's very difficult to determine their exact position. I'm saying they're fluid. Cats are made of liquid. It's incredible. They really are. They're like gack. Best you can do is statistically model their probable position at any one time. Sometimes they're quantum tunnel and teleport through doors. It's facts. It's magical. Cats, this is why they will rule the world eventually. Oh my god, isn't that the most heartbreaking thing? When a guide dog comes at you like it wants to lick your hand and you're like, I can't though. Your vest says I'm not allowed, so I'm just gonna do this and look real weird about it. I wanna cuddle you so bad. I never would. And don't. Don't touch a service dog. No matter how much it wants to love you back, don't touch a service dog. But like, oh man. That's a hard one. Bonnie herds us when we get to leave. She'll circle the group. Precious. Good afternoon, morning, whatever time it is. David, how are you, love? Hot hit. No, drink water. Okay, I told my dogs we'd take a break like 5 minutes ago. Let's take a quick break and then we'll play some game for a bit. Late stream, whatever. My brain's slow today. Get some water, stretch. I'll be back in a few minutes. Take your joy. That was the other thing. Sorry. Brain slow. Brain slow. What up, Glut? How are you? Are you also living the sweaty butt sack life? What's a butt sack? You know what? I don't want to know. So, mood, same. It's gross. Everybody's in it. We're all in this like life of just sweaty ball sack. I started the game, so I guess we're just sitting here. It almost. If it was swampy, I assume Florida with the swamps, it's closer to colostomy sweaty butt sack life because of the smell of swamp. But you probably get used to it, right? All right, game. What happened? Oh, game. What have you done? Catherine, what have you done? Nobody knows the trouble I've... There we go. The fuck happened? Kill you in your sleep? I wouldn't do that. Minimum 70% humidity? That's gross. I'd like to... yeah, that sucks. Swamp ass is expected. Thankfully, it's only 85. Yeah, we were 95 yesterday. I think it's supposed to be a little bit hotter and sweatier today, but I don't know. It's just like, there we go. It's just whether you can't fucking function in or do anything. The continuation of the swag of 9 years of shitters. Actually, what's tomorrow? Isn't tomorrow Faded Friday? Tomorrow's Faded Friday, so depending on how much music and stuff we have to watch and how much laughing we have to do tomorrow, we may continue this saga. But guaranteed continue the saga on Saturday. I bet we won't run out of things because it's been like almost 2 weeks. It's been literally 2 weeks since we've had a Faded Friday, so I bet we're gonna have plenty. Tonight we're watching in the watch party, which is in 2 hours. We're watching Mirror Mask, which is, in my opinion, a really, really cool movie. It's like from the 90s. It's a Jim Henson kind of thing. I don't know. Go look it up. It's art. It's artsy. And then we don't really have anything on the docket, like no series or anything that we're watching. We've just been picking movies off of a list that I have a list. So, come hang out in the Discord if you're bored. It'll be awesome. We just hang out in silence and watch movies and snuggle and meme at each other. We're taking a break from anime, so like, what have we watched recently? We watched Run Lola Run last night, which was a German film. And what did we watch the night before that? I've already blanked. I'm so tired. Please excuse my brain. But like I have Amelie. Oh, we watched Signs. Thank you, which is a great movie. I have Amelie on there, which is also not anime, but it's definitely a French movie, and that's one of my personal favorites. Brief interviews with hideous men is another one I asked on there. Frequently asked questions about time travel. We have a lot of kind of just obscure, movies that a lot of people haven't seen on there. It's been fun though. We have Twister on the docket as well, which is one of my favorites, but I completely understand that Vissy was like not into the idea of watching Twister because that is kind of the life of living in Oklahoma. It's just like the constant minor possible threat of that happening all the time. Like, I respect that and get that. I know, like, I get it. So a night where she's not there, maybe. Mars Express, hold on. Ow. I feel like I got poked. Mars Express. In my brain tried to auto-correct it to Mars Attacks. That's not what it is. Got him. What's Looper? I feel like I've seen that. That sounds really familiar, right? Sounds really familiar. I feel like I know that one, but I don't. I don't know. I'm so tired. I could just be so loopy. See, I fucking love Bruce Willis. I've seen almost, I've tried to see everything with him in it ever. He's one of my favorites. Oh, yeah, the Levitt and Bruce Willis one. That's a really good movie. I really liked that one a lot. Yeah, I really liked that one. I wrote it down anyways. Gamer, I don't know if I've seen that one, but maybe, again, I'm really bad with titles, and I'm so tired loopy that I might just have no idea what I'm talking about. But on that note, I'm going to go take my dogs out and stuff before watch night, movie night, whatever. If you want to come by and see Mirror Mask, please do. It's pretty cool. It's one of my all-time favorites. Seriously, it's like, it screams 90s artsy Jim Henson movie, and those are the best. So please come hang out with us. If not, I will see you tomorrow for Faded Friday. Bring cool music or funny videos, TikToks, whatever, YouTube shorts. I don't know. We'll roll the dice on whatever the fuck's gonna work the best tomorrow. Excuse me. I haven't slept in a few days. Ugh. I'm gonna go take my dogs into the sunshine and try to get some myself. But in the meantime, I'm going to raid my friend Smokelo because I've known him forever and he's playing a cool, chill game that I will probably listen to as I walk my dogs. Be good to yourselves, drink water, take your joy, and pet your furry babies. Come here. What's up? What are you doing? Oh, Nessa, my boy. Always pet the fur babies. You want to go outside and play? We'll watch Smoke Loke. Why are you wet? Mysterious moistness of dogs, right? I love you guys. Be kind to yourself. Make good